Alright, well, welcome back to another video. Move down here a little bit, get away from that sound. Here in the Smoky Mountains, getting ready to hopefully capture an image here at sunset. With the plan of tomorrow morning getting up and going out into Cage Cove. Hopefully find a little bit of wildlife, shooting a little bit of, golden hour type landscape stuff if it's available in the morning. And then possibly doing a little bit of a hike to a waterfall. That's at least the plan for tomorrow and plan for this video. Hopefully we'll come up with something and hopefully it'll turn out. So at this point, right now all I can do is sit and wait. So I'm going to do that for a little while and wait for the sun to go down and see if I can get lucky enough to capture anything. I don't know if it will from the angle where I'm sitting. I mean, you can look out here. As you look, you can see that the sun is over here behind the trees. Got a nice valley out in front of us, which is nice. But with all the clouds, I'm not sure that we won't end up with, basically nothing. But we'll find out. And if we do, I'll get back on here and I'll show you what I'm doing when I take that. And certainly tomorrow morning while we're going through Cage Cove, we'll share a little bit of what we see there. So thanks for coming along, everybody. Let's see what we can get. I don't know if you can see over here, but weather's moved in, basically taking away my chance for a sunset shot, lightning and stuff in the area. Of course, none of it seems to be in an area where I can get an image of it, but anyway, I'll take at least a couple of images here of the sky and I'll throw it in right here so you can see it, and I guess we'll have to wait and see what tomorrow holds for us. So thanks for coming along. Stay tuned. Nothing like a good downpour on a tin roof. The rain came across the valley. You could watch it come, and then it just, right now it's on top of us. This is why I enjoy being in a welcome to a foggy morning in Cage Cove. You can see probably, I don't know, 30-40 yards maybe. Early morning, it's about 6:30. Rained last night real hard, so not surprised we'd see fog early here, but it's really going to make wildlife spotting difficult, but see what we can do. So it's been a fairly quiet morning here in Cage Cove. The atmosphere is great with the fog, but trying to spot anything is difficult. The missus did spot a bear. I wasn't able to see it or get a shot of it, the usual. But I did see some deer and did get some images of that. A little bit of video, so we'll put that in so you can see it. Right now I'm walking back to take an image of the cable mill, but which I usually take when I'm here, but it looks like the wheel might be missing. Interesting. There's some yellow tape up. Never had that all the times I've been out here. So, but we'll still capture an image here, no matter what. All right, so I'm here at the, I think it's the cable mill. Every time I'm here, I've taken a shot of this. Here, I'll show you the back of my camera. You can see the scene first of all. What I'm shooting. You see we're at f8, 1/6 of a second ISO 200. I'll take the quick menu off. You can see there's the image. 2-second delay. There we are. Now, the wheel isn't turning because technically the mill is closed right now. See right there? It's closed. But we're here early. Taking an image. Great atmosphere this morning with a little bit of fog. There's a sign over here that has my wife a little bit worried because it says danger, venomous snakes, and it's cordoned off, but it's, you know, up that way. So we'll be careful. But certainly this is always a great shot, so I will put this in here. Make sure I put in, if I haven't put anything in from, you know, before we got to this spot, I'll put those in as well. You know, and continue on this journey. You know, I might throw in one shot from maybe the last time I was here too, so you can see that. You know, every time I'm here, I try to take a shot of this mill. Alright, so the beauty of Cades Cove, although I can't see it now because I was too slow in getting my GoPro out, sitting here taking an image of this tree out here. Alright, the sun's out over here, and while I'm doing that, there's a doe walking right down the road over here. It's now walked over here into the woods. So switch from one camera to another and take images of both. So just the way it kind of happens here. You got to be ready to react in a second. That's why it's good to have a couple cameras set up differently, so you can react, you know, to whatever's going on. So anyway, we've managed to see a couple bears, get some images. You know, not the best light, you know, I've ever seen, but not terrible. So we're gonna take a break here, run into town and get some breakfast, and continue on our journey here to get a couple more images, some waterfalls or something like that. So thanks for coming along, everybody. Alright, so we're done with breakfast. Now we're on to some waterfalls. First one, there's the name for this. I just don't know the name of it. I've taken this shot a few times. Normally I take it from up here. on top of that rock as opposed to down here by the stream, you know, and the waterfall's out here. Right? You know, there's a name for it, like I said, I just don't know it, but I've taken a couple good images here over the years. You know, I want to set up and take one here, share with you how I do it. All right, and you know, right now what I'll do is I'll put in one I've taken here in the past. All right, so we're set up. All right, and what we're doing here, down a little bit closer, you can see here, a little bit closer to the water. You can see what we're shooting at. All right, about a 1/16 of a second. All right, I do have a circular polarizer on. You know, again, remember, the circular polarizer helps, you know, take some of the glare out of the water. You know, it helps you, you know, get it. So I'm going to take this image. All right, you'll get, I'm going to turn this down here so you can see. There's the image of this truck. All right. So we're able to smooth out the water a little bit, and hopefully you can, even a lot of times you can see through it, especially here when you've got, you know, really good, you know, clarity in the water because it's a good mountain stream. Now right now I'm shooting at about 20 millimeter. I'm gonna zoom this in a little bit. All right, now one of the things that happens when you zoom it in, well, sometimes I get in such a hurry I forget to photograph myself or video myself, but if you look here, you can see that the water is overexposed. So what we do, all right, slow it down. See how that, the orange goes away, which then allows you to get a little bit more detail in the water. Okay, again. All right, so now, if one of these images turns out, I will put it in here for you to see. All right, so the first waterfall we took a picture of was on the main road headed to Cades Cove, just beyond the entrance to the Tremont section of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. All right, now we're on a trail that's basically at the end of the road there. When you come in the entrance to the Tremont section, all right, and then you drive all the way to the end of the road, you come to this trailhead, and it takes you out along an old railway spur. All right, you can see here. That's the creek that runs through here. All right, and it is really pretty nice. To be honest, you could stop anywhere along the road coming out here, and you would be happy with just about any composition you would find. Now, this is called the Middle Prong Trail. As you cross the bridge, there's a sign here that tells you. So what we're going to do is we're going to hike up here, I don't know, it's probably a half a mile, all right, to a spot where you can take an image of of a waterfall. Another one I don't know the name of, I've taken before, but we're going to hike up here and take an image today. I'll turn around here so you can see the trail. Alright, so as you hike up the trail for this waterfall, it's real easy to spot. Alright, because there is, as you can see here in front of me, there's a bench there, and it basically marks the spot, which is right over here, the waterfall we're looking for. So, yeah, look over this way and you'll see it. Now, I've been here a few times taking images of this. I've never hiked any further up this trail, and I don't know if I will today, but definitely gonna take an image here. What I will do put a previous image in here first before I set up. Alright, so now photographing this isn't the easiest. I always shoot from up here by the bench. Alright, because I never wanted to go down, but you can if you look. I do believe it's possible if you want to take the risk to go all the way down here. I don't. So what I do is I sit up here, and typically I'll use, you know, a longer lens just to try to minimize some of the distractions. All right, and as you look here, I'm currently using the 40 to 150 2.8 at 40 roughly. All right, here's the back of my camera. So you can see that. You can see what I'm shooting at. And because the water's moving like it is, you really don't need to slow it down much more than that. Now I could use an ND filter here, but to be honest, the way this is looking at an 1/8 of a second, we're pretty good. All right, so we're 1/8 of a second at 40, roughly right at 40, all right, millimeters. We're getting a pretty nice image. Now I want to zoom in just a little, make it a little bit easier. Do the same thing. Now here, back my camera again. We're zoomed in here, probably pushing close to 60, almost 70. You can see, same kind of settings. I guess it's all underexposed a little bit. We can adjust that if we choose to, as you see. Alright, there's right natural. A 1/13 of a second. 2-second delay. And the image still looks good. So, different ways to do it. Again, I don't know the name of this particular waterfall. I know it has a name, I just don't know it. I've been here several times, you know, taken over the years, since 2010. Alright, I've been here and taken images here. You know, and it's always different light, different everything. Today's no different. You know, the water's at different levels. And there's just always something different, which is why you keep coming back. So, alright, so we're gonna finish up here, hike back down the trail. I think I may stop on my way out just to take an image here of the, you know, the stream, you know, just to get a feel for what I mean by, you can, as you drive down the road, you can stop anywhere and take an image of the stream and you're going to be happy. So I'll take an image of that. All right, anything that's turned out here that I haven't put in, I'll put in, and I'll also put that image in, all right, here so you can see it before we move on to our next location, which is called Meigs Falls, which, you know, to me is the most difficult waterfall to photograph in the Smokies. So thanks for coming along. Alright, so we're here at the I think we're here at Meigs Falls. Now I've been here many times and tried to capture this, and never once have I done a good job of it. Not sure I'm going to do it today, but what I will do here, I'll look back some of my old shots. I'll put one of those in here just so you can see it, so you kind of get a feel for something I've taken in the past, and let's go over and see what we can set up and take today. Alright, so why is this so hard? One, there's always a lot of people. And two, you shoot right into the sun, and the water falls way back into the trees. And you can't get there because you're by the road, and there's a river here. So
your whole background is
I'm actually trying some of the ND filters here to see if that helps me. You know, there's so much glare and everything, it's hard to tell.
I don't know how I got natural light.
Let's see here, we're at 1 second, f8, 200 ISO. So if anything turns out here, one of these, I'll put it in right here for you to see. so we've made it to the Sinks. All right, which is going to be the last stop on our photography trip today. You know, and all these things are basically things you can do pretty easily. You know, if you got one day, you know, here in the Smokies, all right, you want to try to capture some images, all right, definitely a lot of things you can do. There are many more than what I showed here, but what I wanted to do before I went over the Sinks is I wanted to come out over here to the road and just show you on the other side here, across from the Sinks, and here's the Sinks area, right? There is a really good spot there to, you know, get a great composition, especially in the fall. All right, you can shoot up the stream, especially with the colors and stuff in there, can be really nice. You know, I may have an image from that I can find. If I do, I'll put it in here. So what the Sinks themselves, it's a waterfall, but it's not a natural waterfall. This waterfall was created back during the days of logging and stuff here in the, you know, when they were used the river to send the trees downstream. Well, they got jammed up here, so they used some dynamite to, you know, break up the log jam, and they created this waterfall known as the Sinks. It's also a great swimming spot. So here, look, turn around so you can see. I don't recommend swimming up by the waterfall, but I know kids jump off of that rock over there, you know, on the other side. There's nothing really wrong with that. All right, it's okay. Just stay out of the turbulent water because it's pretty crazy. We're going to go over here and see if we can line up and take an image. As you can see, photographers all like to come around here in front of this wall like I'm doing. Here, take a look. You see the kids over there looking to jump in. Not quite sure how deep the water is, but it is definitely entertaining, to say the least. So let's see if we can find a way to get down here and take an image. Alright, so got any images they turned out. I'll put them in here for you to see. With that, we're going to end this video here at the Sinks. You know, just to say that here, got one day and you want to get out and take some images. You know, there's almost no place, almost a billion places you can go here in the Smokies to do it. You don't have to work too hard to get good images. So we went out today and tried to do that. We're gonna, you know, as you can tell, we've changed shirts we've got. We're gonna spend the rest of the day taking it easy. Gonna be sitting in a hot day. So anyway, thanks for coming along, everybody. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Until we see you again, stay safe.